Okay, we are now live. Okay, everybody. I don't see anybody in yet, but the ones that have come in and then start watching later. We have Drew 1 with Living History Mysteries, and we have Drew 2 with Drew's Abandoned Paranormal Vlog. So, Drew 1, would you like to introduce yourself and what you'll be talking about today?
I have absolutely no clue what we're going to talk about today. I figured it was just going to be a big surprise on my part.
Well,
Well,
that's it. So everything's good.
You 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 know I'm a mushroom. I'm kept in the dark and fed poop all day long.
You want to know where
you're
we can
gonna.
start then? The leprechaun video that I watched today. I watched your leprechaun video today. I know it was
Mhm.
another content creator that did the actual creation of the content, but it was an amazing video. I loved hearing about all the mystical creatures. So, have you got Celtic
I've had a
roots in
ball.
Ireland as well?
I have had a ball all of March doing because in America March is Irish American Heritage Month.
Right.
So I've done nothing but Irish folklore, Irish myths and legends, Irish history, and I've had a ball and especially with the spillover from Scotland to Ireland and back and forth with Dalriada and um, some of the other myths and legends. It's like a lot of historians say that Ireland was founded by the Picts, by the Caledonians.
No,
So they come in from Scotland and hit Northern Ireland and just bled down. Now whether or not that's true or not, um, who knows? At one point in time, 10,000 years ago, Ireland and Scotland could have been connected by a land bridge. I mean, who really knows? So, because that whole area in southern Ireland is only like 200 meters below the surface. So, I mean, it's not like super deep. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows what happened in the past? All we can do is guesstimate based on the stories and stuff. That I'm getting a ticking noise. I think it might be Drew's fan.
yeah, it's not nice. I think it's usually mystical love and light that comes through that.
I don't even have
When
hear
I
my fan going.
mute and stuff,
I just hear an echo. Drew, would you like to introduce
it's me.
yourself?
Oh, might as well. Might as well. My name is Drew
Yes, hello
Ellsworth.
everybody. It's most
I'm yeah. I don't know what that is. Just all of a sudden started going.
I think it's
What
my
was
But
that?
computer that does it sometimes.
mm,
It's as if it's the fan or
but
something.
I'm the
You
I'm the founder and the creator of Living History's Mysteries here on YouTube. We started off as a strictly history channel, and I figured there was a lot more fun in telling some of the unknown facts, the mysteries, the legends that history left behind. That's pretty much the gist of my channel. Like I said, this whole month we've been doing Irish American Heritage Month, doing nothing but folklore, myths, legends, and history from Ireland and parts of Scotland because they are somewhat tied together. So that's pretty much the gist on me. Really nothing special.
Cool. Drew, too? You want to introduce yourself?
most of you already know me, guys. I'm Drew from Drew's Paranormal Vlog. I did add the abandoned after it, so you can get me on either Drew's Paranormal or Drew's Abandoned Paranormal. I usually, for about 3 4 months, I've not been doing too much paranormal though. It has just been live streams, chit chatting, and maybe some witchy things. So watch this space because we will be going back out the next couple of weeks. The weather here today in Scotland was a bit I can change. I went to the shop a wee while ago and I didn't even need my tammy. So we're getting there.
Cool. So, Drew one, it's kind of an open chat. Anything you want to tell us that anything pertaining to the strange and unknown, it doesn't matter what it is. The floor is yours. We've been waiting a whole nother 2 days to get this fixed so we can listen to you.
Wow. The strange and the unknown. My God. There's so many
Tell us a
potential
little bit about
stories.
There you go.
Well, one of them that really sticks out in my mind. Here in America, we had a legend for, oh my God, over a century about the red ghost. Now, a little background story here. The red ghost was supposedly this deformed horse that had almost like a Grim Reaper kind of skeleton human on its back, and it rode around the Southwest. People would see it, then they wouldn't see it. The story behind the red ghost, though, is it was not a horse, it was a camel. During the Civil War, the Army tried to utilize camels on the extreme Western theater to because they were better off with little water. They worked in the heat better, stuff like that. And people would mistake the hump for a slopped over person riding its back. And when the military during the Civil War realized they couldn't utilize these camels because they weren't as easily trained as a horse was, they just let them go. So there's every possibility that there are still camels running around the Southwest in the United States.
Interesting. Wow. So, Drew, do you do paranormal stuff also? Drew one?
Oh yeah. Well, when the weather permits. I live in Michigan, so I'm in southwestern Michigan. I'm right by Lake Michigan. So when Indiana or Illinois is in snow, we're getting snow followed by lake effect snow. So we'll usually get 3, 4, 5 more inches than most people in the surrounding states do. So during the wintertime, it's kind of if you can't find an inside investigation to do, then you just find filler to put on your channel until you can get back out again. Much like
Yeah,
Scotland today, Michigan was much warmer. We actually got to 50 degrees today. So, another week or two of that, we might be actually be able to get out and start doing our cemetery investigations again.
That's about like it is here too. If it's too cold, I don't go do the investigations. I'll wait till it gets warmer.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got the big Kalamazoo, Michigan Living History Trade Show this weekend, and 4 years ago tomorrow was the day I actually started on YouTube. And Kalamazoo Trade Show was the very first video that I ever done for my old channel. So this weekend's like really special because I had that first year, then we missed a year for COVID, and then we missed 2 years because of the pandemic, and then we went last year. We're going back this year, and this actually makes the it actually makes the 19, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, it makes our 4th anniversary.
Wow. Hello,
So,
Christine. Wow.
It's always appreciated.
hey, Christine.
She says sorry, I can't stay. I'm at work, but dropped in to say hi. Well, that was nice of her.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you, Christine.
Yep. Well, cool.
She
So,
like the few.
so
I take it you're feeling better then, Christine.
so have you when you do your paranormal stuff, Drew one, when you do your paranormal stuff, have you run across any like cryptids or skinwalkers or anything like that?
Not that I can confirm was a skinwalker or anything. Now are there's a few cemeteries here in Michigan that we've been wanting to get where the stories are back in the back of the cemeteries are actually Indian burial mounds. And those burial mounds are supposedly guarded by a skinwalker, but we've never had the chance to get that far north to hit those yet. That's going to be an overnight trip, so until we can start, banking some donations and stuff to have in the, there's not going to be any overnight hotel stays or anything like that.
Right. Let me mute this for a minute.
Speaking of a skinwalker, I can hear one. I can hear a skinwalker.
That's Lee getting home, so Velvet's barking at him. I'm gonna mute myself a minute while he's coming in. Y'all keep talking.
But I've actually, oh gosh, what was it last? Yeah, it was last year. We've done a couple cemeteries, and I actually left with scratches. One cemetery, we were talking to a World War II vet, and he was killed in a mortar attack on his outpost. And he kept telling us, be careful, be careful, be careful. And it wasn't very long after that, we heard something out in the cornfield south of the cemetery. And honest to God, it sounded like a banshee scream. I mean, it was the most horrific, hair-raising squeal I ever heard in my entire life. And, we had the word evil come across the device. So we decided, okay, we're just going to go to the next cemetery down the road. And I was breaking down my equipment, putting it in the trunk of the car. My buddy was off walking back behind the car away from it. And about that time, I felt something go from the back of my neck straight down to my waist. And I mean, it just felt like somebody took a knife and drug it down me. And I yelled to him. He come running back, and I actually took my shirt off right there live on camera and had him snap a picture of it. And there's a bright red line going right down the center of my spine. So that was the worst one. And then I've been scratched across the chest, and I've been scratched underneath my left rib cage at 2 other cemeteries. But whatever they were, they didn't like us there.
That's kind of scary, huh?
Now, I'm a glutton for punishment. I go out there looking for that stuff.
I smack me. I'm just like gung ho. Just go do it. See what I can find.
Well, our friend Jan from JJ's Adventures.
You're on it.
Our friend Jan from JJ's Adventures is off doing an investigation tonight, and she was worried about it earlier today. And I told her, she goes, well, the people she has to investigate and possibly cleanse a local house that's for sale. The people that sold the house to the owners that own it now never told them about the shadow figures and things moving in the house and stuff. Well, they're in the process of selling the house, and they want it cleansed before they sell it. And she said he was very worried about it. It's on old native land and stuff like that. And I told her, I said, I wish I was there to help you because I don't care. The way I look at it, I may wake up every morning, but every morning I wake up, I'm one day close to the end. So bring it on. Bring it on is the way I look at it. If you're going to get me. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back even nastier the next time. So.
Yeah. We lost Drew. She must be switching.
Yeah,
her
I think
phone
she
or
was
something.
freezing up.
Yeah, she was. If she's on the computer, she might be switching to her phone. So yeah. Are you hearing Lee in the background? If you are, I can mute this. He's just coming in from being on the road.
No,
Okay.
I'm not hearing anything.
Okay. Alrighty. So
hope he had a good trip this time.
Yeah. She says I'll come in on my phone, guys. Yeah, that's what she's doing. Let me put okay,
Gotcha.
Drew. Okay.
Yeah, she looked like she was freezing up, and
yeah, I wasn't picking up what she was, yeah, yeah. So anything that you experience, anything like that, we would love to hear. Like me, when I go paranormal investigating stuff, I can see things, but it doesn't help anybody else. So that's why I have all my devices. I can say there's a spirit or there's a shadow, but that doesn't do anything. And that's a lot of reason why I go at nighttime, so you can see the lights going off and stuff, because you can't really see them in the daytime too much.
Yeah, see, a lot of people, I hear people all the time saying, whatever you go out and find in the dark is also there in the light. And I have to agree with that. They are absolutely correct. Whatever's there haunting a place at night is there doing the same haunting during the day. Mm-hmm. But just because we feel them or something during the day doesn't mean that we can project what we're feeling to the people that view our videos. So it's easier to go at night when you can see the things easier. You're not having to fight natural lighting and everything. And I mean, face it, it's awesome to sit and watch somebody on a voice box or an SB7 or an SB11 or something like that. But to actually see what's happening is completely different. It adds that whole other level of mystery and fear.
Yeah, because they can pick up the excitement too when they see. Because sometimes if it's dark time and your lights are going off, they're able to see them and they know something is happening instead of just waiting for you to say something is happening. They're right there experiencing everything right along with you.
Yep.
So Deuce trying to come in. It says device is not connected.
Huh.
Drew, if you're on your phone and you can hear me, it says devices not connected, so I can't bring you in on it. It says they will need to connect their mic/cam before you can add them to the stream.
Yeah, situation like that, she has to go in and make sure her mic and her camera and everything's active. And one other thing, there she goes. There she.
Yep.
go. She got it.
Oh, she lost it again.
I thought she did.
She was there for a split second.
Well, one other thing a lot of people don't realize when you're using StreamYard or something, and you're going on a telephone, you have to hit those three dots at the very top of your screen, and then scroll down. You'll have a list pop up, and scroll down and make sure and click desktop mode.
Oh, see, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that. Welcome in,
Well,
Silver Knight, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. Um, yeah. See, you got to open it in Chrome. See, I actually started doing live streams via StreamYard and Streamlabs before I even qualified to do live streams through YouTube. But
Really?
because it's an OBS system, it doesn't recognize it as a YouTube live stream. So I might have a little bit more experience with There she is.
Yep.
Welcome
I'm
back,
back.
girl.
Welcome
Hope you
back.
can hear me okay.
Yes, I can hear you now.
I just won't be able to read chat, guys.
Okay, well, Silver Knight Kyle just came in.
Welcome.
And Silver Knight Kyle says gotta open it in Chrome.
Yeah, I opened it in Chrome. That's why I can call. That's why I can see you.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have known none of that. Huh. So
I
can
don't
you
know why
hear?
your computer's making that clicking noise again.
Let me see if it's mine. Let me come over here and listen.
Yeah, that
It does
clicking
it
noise is what
before.
I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's
There it goes.
definitely.
Gone
Yeah,
now.
that's it.
I was
Yeah,
say I
that's
don't
it
hear
now.
anything.
That's it now.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes if you don't push your earphones in far enough, it makes a funny noise.
Ah,
Okay. I had to mute myself so I could holler at him and tell him he could come in and say hi to me. He always comes in and goes straight to
yeah.
take a shower. Hi,
This is right
honey.
in the driveway.
Oh,
Oh, is he
yes, that
home?
is.
Highway.
Look, she's showing her deal. She's practicing on
What
her
is it?
crocheting. She's trying to crochet a square.
Oh, I used to do that.
He said he used to do that.
Oh, brilliant. I'm nearly there. I ripped it out about 3 times.
Love you.
Hope you
Glad
had a
you
good
do.
week, Lee.
Drew said he hopes you had a good weekly. He said he did. He's happy because he normally just comes in on Friday or Saturday, but he was pushing it to get back today.
Is that him home
Well,
now for the weekend?
he has to be home for St. Patty's Day
When is it?
Oh,
tomorrow.
Okay, well, he's here then.
I've got green hair
Which,
for it.
believe me, it's weird because I just found out this morning that my daughter actually has St. Patrick's Day off from school. And I'm like, when the hell did they start celebrating that holiday in school?
I
Really?
know. Wow, it's an excuse for the teachers to get a rest.
Well, our kids actually go to school about 2.5 weeks longer than anybody else in the country. So
Right.
for them to, I mean, they start like, um, oh God, what they start the day after Labor Day, and they go until the middle of June.
Huh.
I started the 10th of August and got out the second week of May. So
Yeah, I can't remember us ever getting as many holidays as that. Honestly can't.
I don't really celebrate holidays hardly anymore.
I know.
I do the main holidays. You know, I
Oh,
try to eat.
them.
I eat turkey on Thanksgiving, venison on Christmas, rabbit on Easter. You know, normal holidays.
Yeah. Try and stick to some of the traditions, don't you?
As many of them as I can. Got an echo too from someone having YouTube and StreamYard open at the same time. I have no sound here.
Yeah.
The only
I've got,
sound on in my entire studio is my voice.
yeah,
Everything
I've got
else is
nothing
muted or the sound
either.
is shut off.
Yeah, everything's off in my end
Yeah, I
too.
haven't got my phone off. It's not even on.
We learned that lesson pretty quick when we all started to go live.
Well, thank you, Kyle. I know I appreciate that. I can't speak for the
Well,
girls, but
I'm
uh,
making sure I don't have anything open.
So,
that's
Drew, what
kind
have
of
you
how
all
I
got
look at
coming up
life.
for the future? What have you got coming up this year that we can all get excited about?
Oh dear God. Right now we have got 4 or 5 ghostoramas, which is a paranormal convention that we put on. Um, I try to help Danny Holroyd from Southern Michigan Paranormals as much as I possibly can. The first one coming up the weekend of June 3rd is in Benton Harbor, Michigan, at the
Mm-hmm.
City of David religious compound. We have another one coming up in August, which is at the Van Buren County Poorhouse Museum. It used to be a poorhouse with a hospital next to it.
That'll be
They've
good.
had hundreds and hundreds of poor people through there. People have died on. People are buried on the property.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great big 5-story museum now, and
Right.
we were going to do Ghost Drama there last year, and the place got hit by a huge storm that took off the roof and
Oh,
most of
God.
the top
Why?
floor of um, historic pieces and stuff. So, you know, luckily they decided to preserve the place. This is the second time the roof's blown off that place,
Well,
and
they
we
kind
had
of places are
tornado.
really interesting. Do you ever watch
Oh, it's
KJ Haunting on my channel? They've been followers of mine, and I've been followers for them for years. And Jason actually works in a building. It's called the theatre. It's a theatre, and they do paranormal investigations in it. And the reason they do that in there is because right next door used to be a workhouse, and I think that's where a lot of the hauntings come from through the theatre, is because it used to be a workhouse next door. Well, they get loads of evidence,
wow.
so I dare say you'll get loads as well.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, situations like that, you got to look at the fact that, you know, not only is it the building that you may be investigating that carries the haunting, but any buildings that sat in very close proximity,
Mm-hmm.
especially if in life these things moved from building to building to building. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
they're going to go where they were most comfortable.
Yeah.
Um,
I think the way
but
it works there is the car park. Where the car park is used to be the workhouse, and then they built the theatre kind of on where the workhouse people stayed. So that makes it even more haunted, I would assume, because their conditions and where they stayed wouldn't have been brilliant either.
oh yeah. Well, and see, I was actually thinking about that. Did you watch Chris's video on the mill yesterday?
Yes, I grew up with that mill. I used to go in there all the time, and we played down there as kids. That's in my
Wow.
local town.
Well, the first thing I thought of when I seen how old the construction was on it was millwork, especially millwork in Scotland. And this is something I found out while I was doing my Irish American Heritage Month videos. Is there was no mills in Ireland, and the
Right.
king, honey, love you too. Have a good night at work.
Have a good night at
Um,
work,
the king,
Mum
Have, have a good night at
Ellsworth.
work.
but there were no mills in Ireland. So the king, MacEart, actually got a hold of mill workers in Scotland and had them come over and open mills in Ireland because he actually fell in love with a woman who was a house worker for his
Right.
mother. And he
Oh.
watched her grinding the grain and the corn and everything every day, and he felt sorry for her because she was actually a king's daughter.
Oh.
So he decided he was falling in love with her. He didn't want her doing this, and he thought, well, what about these other poor women that do it? So
Yeah.
he had mill workers come from Scotland to Ireland and start building mills so women didn't have to hand grind grain and stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this mill that Chris is investigating, and I'm thinking, my God, wonder how many people have died or been seriously injured and died of infection or something later from working in these old mills like this.
I know.
So it just
And do
adds
you know
one more
something?
thing to my list to want to investigate when I come to Scotland.
You know something? See that old mill? When I was homeless, I used to stay in like as I've told you before, it's actually, I'll go do a video down there and I'll show you. There's a thing just right next door to it, and it's where I used to stay when I was homeless. And I knew that there would be spirits and everything down in the mill. And I never ever got scared. Never ever got scared. Even when I used to go and sometimes hang around under the bridge, and sometimes we'd go a walk right up round the water. You can't actually cross that water. I've crossed it loads of times when it's calm enough. I'll do a video this year and I'll show you it all deeper and better. There's a bit actually up round the corner that Chris didn't show you. I'll go up and round there and I'll show you a bit better of it. But yeah, I never ever get a creepy feeling down there. It's as if it was maybe like kids or something or teenagers energy, and they just don't really bother you.
Hmm. Well, and that's something that a lot of people that are into the paranormal and stuff have to remember. Just because a place is haunted doesn't mean it's haunted by something bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, how
Most of
many
the
how
times
many
the
of us?
spirits don't want to talk, they just go on with it.
Well, how many of us, whether we live in America or we live in Scotland or Ireland or England or France or Portugal or wherever, live in an old house? I mean, a house that's been there for generations.
Yeah.
Somebody at one point in time, a mother, a grandmother, somebody has died in one of those older homes.
Yep.
Now, just because that person has died, if they died 4, 5, 6 generations ago, they've come to
Did I ever
terms
tell
with the
you?
fact.
Did I ever tell you that my
Say what?
sister actually stayed in the oldest house in Lesmahago? It used to be the old Coach Inn. And a funny story happened. Her boyfriend was really abusive to her when she stayed in that house, and he was an alcoholic and things. And the whenever he was lying sleeping on the couch, maybe drunk, the music would go up full blast, and he would wake up and go to his bed. And then there was one night where he was actually not too nice to my sister, and he get pulled out his bed and threw against the wall. And that was the oldest um, building in Lesmahago, and it was a coach inn. And it makes me think, was it some of the lady spirits that used to maybe stay there or something that had abusive partners in the past or abusive customers if it was that way inclined, and maybe they were helping her Helen because she was going through this, you know? But it's
That's
the
very
old
possible.
and you should see some of the walls were as thick as that. They've actually knocked it down now, or I would have showed you.
Could be. Well, if
Wow.
you think about it, all over with centuries and centuries of what's gone on in the planet,
Yep.
there's got to be deaths everywhere you walk on this planet. You know,
Yep.
and people say, well, how come you investigate schools or something like that? Well, it's not so much well, first of all, it's not so much the school itself, it's the land, but spirits tend to go to places also that's vacant because they also can move in as if it were their own also. And a lot of people don't understand that. But
Right.
houses that are vacant and stuff, spirits tend to migrate to those places where there's no other human dwelling there.
Yeah.
Do you think they can
Yep.
then, if they go into a place where it's derelict, for example, can they manifest it to look like a nice house? If you get what I mean, can they make that look like a nice house in their mind, if you like?
I don't know.
Actually, a
Or
good
will it
question.
be derelict to them as well? You know? Because
I
technically,
mean,
if there is portals, if there is portals and there is different vibrations that you can tune into, then maybe they can choose what vibration they go into, whether it's the derelict home, whether it's when it was nice, whether it was when it was before it was built. They can maybe choose what niche they get into, Interesting.
I don't know, but I do know like a lot of the evil entities, a lot of the evil spirits, they prefer houses that are in chaos. Because
Right.
houses that are in chaos, they're less detected. Because if someone has everything and it's nice in its place and something gets moved, they're going to know it. But if they're
Right.
going to be working on a person, working on the brain to break them down, to try to take over, they want that house to be chaos. That way they can do it without being detected. I know that.
Yeah. Especially if people in that homes get mental health problems, addictions and things, because the people around them just put it down to their moods changing, whereas it could be something deeper that's wrong with them, such as a spirit or something that's not so nice attached to them. So it's always that option to choose, because how many people are in hospitals for the mentally insane who maybe really were possessed or something?
Mhm. Exactly. And Kyle even says the entire Earth is a vibratory plane of possibility, metaphysical interaction waiting to happen. Yeah, true.
Definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. That's why I like to put out as much questions as I can. When I got an investigation, I like to ask maybe 3 or 4 questions at once. And then that way, when you're getting replies back through your spirit box, you can place them together. Instead of asking a question, waiting 10 minutes to see if you get an answer, ask multiple questions. And then when you get answers, it could be even 5 minutes down the line, it could actually link up with a question you asked 5 minutes ago. That's why I like to ask as many questions as I can and always record everything, because sometimes you just don't hear it until you play it back.
Mhm.
It's so important.
Yep. That's why I like to take so many devices. I've heard people say they don't want to take devices, but when spirits are trying to manifest and talk to you, the spirits will manifest in different ways. They will have different energies, and maybe they can get enough energy for this device and not this device, or another spirit there can manifest and be able to come through on a different device. So I try to have a different devices so it can kind of catch a variety of stuff. When you're doing like the spirit talking stuff and you got the reverb and the echo, I can't hardly ever hear anything, make anything out. But then after the fact and coming home and having different people listen to it, then they can tell me more of what it says because my hearing is so bad. But
Yeah.
I want that device too to give them the opportunity to be able to speak their mind if they can pull enough energy from it.
Yeah, definitely. And there's more and
Mm-hmm.
more equipment coming out that's focused on putting out
Mhm.
energy to the spirits, because I noticed there's now a coil and things out that's got electricity running through it that you can actually put in the middle of a room that helps the spirits with energy. So maybe through time I'll invest in one of them as well if they're not so expensive, because I do feel as if some of the spirits would pop more if they didn't run out of energy so quick.
Mhm. I
You
have more devices than I have hands.
Oh,
And I two of my team probably won't even come back because one, her husband doesn't want her to because he's scared, so he doesn't want her to do it, and she's not scared, she likes to do it, but I guess to keep peace in the family, I think she's going to back out. And
right.
the other one, her daughter has health issues, so she can't. So I told her, I guess I'm gonna be going by myself. I mean, that still leaves two more because I had four in the team, but
There could be
we'll
other
have to wait
people
and
close to
see.
you. Yeah, you never know if there's anybody out there that's close to wherever you are. They might decide to go with you. If it was me, I'd be going with you tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'd
Yeah.
pass up a chance.
Drew,
Somebody
where's
gets
your
a hold of me and
favourite
says, "Hey, you
place?
want to go?" I'm
Anywhere.
like,
Where's
"Yeah."
your favourite places to investigate? Do you like the battlefields and things more because you like the history and things?
Well, the only problem with me doing that is they're all so far away. I
Sure.
mean, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania was an 8-hour trip for us, and
Wow.
I think our closest battlefield would be extreme eastern Ohio, where Morgan's Raiders were finally captured after they rode up through Kentucky into Ohio or into southern Indiana and then over into Ohio and was trying to work their way around Ohio and then around the Great Lakes to get to invade as much of the northern states as they could. And
Mm.
they finally got captured, in eastern Ohio, right along the Ohio River where West Virginia and Ohio separate. So
Mhm.
that's our closest battlefield, and that's going to be a 6.5-hour trip.
I know when you had your other channel, there was amazing investigations and things on there. I mean, it was such a pity that you did lose that channel, but hopefully we can get you back to where you were and you'll get all those videos back and things to get up there.
Hello,
You know?
Justin.
Hey, Justin. Yeah, that's who I was just
Welcome,
typing to on my
Justin.
phone. He was messaging me, and I'm like, no, I'm over here now.
Come over.
I
But
think because
no, I'm sorry. I was going to comment on what Drew just
oh,
said.
hmm
Before I lost the old channel, I was able to save all my investigations.
I know.
So I was able to save probably 35, 40 videos out of 960 videos.
wow.
Good,
So,
good.
but I saved the
So,
investigations. So I'm back to using my wintertime and stuff, doing the histories and things like that to build those videos back up. I just figured this out in my live stream yesterday. Between my old channel and this channel, in 4 years, I've done like 1,500 videos.
oh wow, see, that's
So,
Wow.
and they're
Wow.
interesting videos. I loved the one where you were doing a bit about the um I think it was, I always forget the names of it, but remember I used to comment on it and they had came across somewhere where there was the underground railroad. And I told you that I've always been interested in Underground Railroad, but I
mhm.
don't know how ethical it is for Americans to actually want to go investigate that with the spirits, such as go to places where they knew the Underground Railroad was and do investigations and maybe contact some of these people that didn't make it. How do
Well,
people feel about that being done? Is it something that is allowed to do or is it looked ill upon?
oh yeah, yeah, and it's actually funny you mention that because my partner Mark and I went to quite a few cemeteries last year that were Underground Railroad cemeteries.
Good, that's good. I
So
would
we
love
were
to
actually
go
able
on.
to communicate with a lot of both abolitionists and former slaves.
Right, that's brilliant. Definitely need to look those videos out because it's something I've always really, really felt empathy for them for. I mean, I think it must have been for some of the old movies that were out about it. And then I found out that a lot of us Scottish and Irish people that went to America to do better actually also got put into slavery. and some of them were saved through the Underground Railroad. It wasn't just the I don't know what the right
Well,
term has.
and
I don't want to offend
and
anybody. You know.
and see, I'm actually working on a video right now. Let me pull my list down real quick so I can give you the right date. Um, I'm working on a video right now. I started working on it yesterday. It won't come out until the 4th of April, but it's
Right.
on the that's how far ahead I am, thanks to my wife working second shift now. I have my mornings while she's sleeping and my evenings when she goes to work free
Mm-hmm.
to work on things. But
Brilliant.
the video I'm working on is on the entire Atlantic slave trade.
Right.
Wow.
So everything from the Bahamas to Portugal to Africa, back to England, Scotland, Ireland, North America. And it was actually a
It's
huge
something you kind
triangle at
of
one time.
forgot about. I feel as if it's something that's kind of forgot about in the paranormal field because I've researched it and there isn't many people will touch it, I don't think, because I've not seen a lot of investigations about it. And it's something I think that the spirits of that situation would love to get their story out. They would love, I feel as if they would
Yeah.
probably love their stories to be told.
Yep, and it's actually funny. Kyle just mentioned the Tippecanoe and the Mississinawa battlegrounds. Now,
Brilliant.
for those of you that don't know, I'm 32 years of being a historical reenactor.
Hmm.
So I do, well, I used to do, Mississinawa 1812 battle every year, and the actual battlefield is only about a mile and a half from where they reenact
Hmm.
the Battle of Mississinawa. And
Oh, wow.
you can actually
Interesting.
walk out, you can drive right out and park where the village was at. And if you look east of that village out across the field, for some reason, and I cannot explain this, and Kyle, if you ever get up there while the crops are still young, if you stand at the entrance to that parking lot where the village was at, where the little monuments are set up at, and you look east up on the hill in the middle of that field, the
Hey,
crops
JJ.
always grow a lighter color of green
Welcome, John.
than they do every place else.
Wow.
Hey, Jan. Now, Tippecanoe,
Huh.
I've not had a chance to go to yet.
Right.
But I've been to Miss Cinewall several times. Sadly, the last time I was there was before I started doing paranormal stuff. So I would really like to get back down because I actually grew up 30 miles south of Miss Cinewall.
All right.
So
Oh,
if Kyle's from that area, he knows about Fairmount, Indiana. It's the hometown of James Dean, the actor.
right.
So, I grew
So
up in
in
that
that
town.
local area, in the local area where there was that battlefield and yous were kids then, was there ever any rumours of spirits and things or strange
About where?
happenings? Where you were brought up, where you said you didn't stay too far away from it when you were brought up. Was there any like stories of
Oh,
these
there were
things?
stories all over the area about spirits. Um, oh God. Well, my great aunt's house that my cousin lives in now since my aunt passed away. That house was built in 1828,
Oh wow, that's quite old
and
for the
it, it
place.
it by itself was haunted. And then the house right across the street from there, where my uncle lived at, that house is even older. Older. It was built in like 1918 or 1818.
1818.
So, and I mean, it's an old Victorian style house, just
That's
huge. I mean,
pretty.
you're talking 27, 28 rooms in this house.
Wow.
So, and it's got the great big witch towers on the front,
That's
the great
because a
big
lot of
round
them brought
rooms.
over. Because that's because a lot of them took over with them architects that had built castles or architects for Italy that had done these cathedrals, no maybe no big cathedrals, but different little things. So some of the architecture in early America is amazing. I mean, I've seen some of the big manor houses and things that's been built over there, and they just look like something right out of
Oh
England
yeah.
or France.
Well, and I mean, yeah, and I mean, you want to talk about we'll talk. Let's talk newer old. One of our
Right.
local realtors in that town had a brick house that was built 1860,
So
and right,
bizarre.
right a year before the beginning of the Civil War. If you go down in his basement, where his office, well, he's passed on now, but if you went down in the basement where his office was, one of his bookcases had the push button trigger on it.
Wow. For a
You'd reach
hideaway.
under the shelf and hit the button in the shelf, the whole cabinet would pull away, and there were stone steps going down about 30 feet,
Wow.
and that was an actual underground version of the Underground Railroad.
See, it's amazing, isn't it? Do you think they got
And
that idea from some of our uh, locations over here where a lot of the castles will lead to different places and things? Do you think maybe they got the
oh,
idea here for
it
here?
was it was it was very, very common. And if a lot of those castles were actually kept up, then maybe the walls and stuff would not have fallen in and filled in the gaps or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those castles, especially castles that had outbuildings and stuff, most of them actually had underground passageways to
Right.
move people from building to building, or even completely outside of the castle grounds, especially in the chance of an attack or something like that. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
lord or lady was living there could escape
Did
and
they put
get out
the
before.
babies?
Yeah.
I
They
mean, I
did the
don't know if a
women?
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people know about Edinburgh. Edinburgh, most taverns in Edinburgh has leads on down into the Edinburgh Vaults. There's little tunnels that go off into like a tavern. Maybe there's one that'll go off into like a shop and then it'll lead upstairs. There's so many things go on underneath in the Edinburgh dungeons, if you like. The dungeons are the other ones. It just leads off into different.
You can
I
mute
think
this.
that actually leads to the castle as well.
Let me mute this.
It's okay. But they lead off into different taverns and the different places, and it's amazing. It's a big maze. Probably get
Well,
people
and
lost.
not only did you have to deal with
Hi,
the
Lee.
mazes and stuff, but hi Lee. But also a lot of those castles, because of the French influence, a lot of those castles you would find, especially the huge ones, were they would have things like an oubliette, where they would stick somebody and just forget about it, which is what oubliette is, a place of forgetting.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's like a dungeon, just throw you in there and forget about you. Some of them that were next
Believe
to the sea, they would just get thrown out the window.
it, well,
Bye,
that was
Kyle. Just
just
leave
as
it.
easy. All right, Kyle, we'll see you later, bud. Take care of yourself. Have a
Well,
good
bless
evening.
you.
But the cool thing about an oubliette, and you see them in movies once in a while, and normally, um, well, here's a perfect example. There was a movie that came out called First Night. It had Richard Gere, Sean Connery, um, Sean Connery playing King Arthur, Richard Gere playing Lancelot. Um,
Right.
they took Guinevere, and took her to the enemy's castle, and they put her. Basically, what it was a huge hole, and there's no way to get around the hole. But you got the main entrance here. You got a little tiny ledge back here, and then
Right.
there was a large wooden rack that could be lowered down. You had to cross that little bridge and get on that other ledge, and it was lifted back up where you couldn't get out. So you had to be very careful how you slept at night. So I mean, it wasn't even a dungeon. It was
No.
just a place of forgetting.
Yeah, a
And
big
if that
pit.
person forgot where they were, they died.
Yeah. 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 Some of the castles are
So I mean,
beautiful, though. I think there's some of the Romanian castles and things as well are just beautiful. And who knows what's under them? Because look at there, that past. You know?
um,
We found a
Jan,
little
how's your
castle here.
investigation going?
I
Oh
can't read
yeah.
the chat, guys.
I keep putting it up here so everybody can see.
Well, Jan was saying that she's doing fine. She was talking to Justin, said she just got home from the investigation, and you know, Jan's like 5 hours away from me. If she was any closer, I would have been on that investigation with her
Yeah.
because I told you guys earlier about the circumstances behind it,
Uh-huh.
and it's she normally goes with her husband. Her husband does all her filming and stuff. This time he didn't get a chance to go, and it's really weird because I'm the first one to say, even though I'm a glutton for pain, I'm a glutton to be attacked. I beg for the attacks to come just so
Mhm.
I can have physical proof that something was there.
See,
And
I'm the one that always wants touched as well. I always
Bye.
say, you're
Hello,
welcome to
Panka.
touch me.
Yeah.
Hi, Panka.
but I will never go alone. Never. I went to
See, I
one
go to the places
investigation
I know
alone,
alone. I
and
don't mind it
I
being
won't
the
go back.
railway thing. Right.
Uh, well, I won't go back again alone because even though this place was very, very peaceful, every spirit that I spoke to was very kindly. It could have easily gone the other direction,
Sure. Uh-huh.
and nobody knew I was there except the occasional policeman that drove by, and I'd wave at him. He'd flash his spotlight at me. I'd wave back, but they can't always see me because part of the cemetery is open, part of it the road is guarded by trees. So they come by, shine their light. They don't see me. They're not going to pull in the cemetery and drive around and look for me. They're just doing their regular patrols.
You'd be too scared
So I
in
could be
case it
like,
was a spirit.
I could be laying out there chewed on by a coyote, and they wouldn't know it until the next day when somebody drove through to plant some flowers or something and found my carcass.
The coyote would know it.
I know, right?
Well, my wife would know it when she. But then again, it's a toss of the coin. Is she going to call and report me missing, or is she going to throw a party because she don't got to support my ass anymore? So
I'm quite sure after a couple of hours of partying, she'll miss you.
There's one that I
yeah,
might do
probably.
by myself not too long from now. But
Let's
it's because
see.
my team lives so far away, and by the time I go from here, drive an hour and a half to go get them, well, would be driving an hour and the investigation, come back, and then back again. That's a lot of driving, unless they want to just meet me up here. I don't know if they
Yeah.
will or not, but I'm going to suggest it. If not, I guess I'll be. Now, Lee will be in the van because he won't go up, but he's got to park here, and then I got to go walking way up a hill to it where he technically can't see me, but I'm sure if I start hollering and screaming, he'll hear me.
You might meet somebody near you that'll be willing to come and join your team. I would ask around.
Well, I
Oh
kind
no,
of do,
wait.
but
That's actually
it's kind of hard to find somebody
so.
that I would. Oh, go ahead, Rue.
Deal with, I know.
I'm
I'll come
sorry.
over.
I'm reading the chat, and Jan's talking about her investigation. and
Was
you
Jan
just
there?
put that part up, JJ,
I
and
can't read
you
that.
just put that part up there. I use the dimension portal, and after a few minutes of using the S box with it, I changed my phone using the Spirit Talker. After a couple of minutes, the spirits turned off the app and started up my playlist on my phone. Bon
Oh,
Jovi was playing through my dimensional portal.
oh wow, spirits wanted to hear some music.
Hmm.
So yeah, they were manipulating her devices, shutting one off, turning one on,
Yeah,
whatever,
that happens. See, and that brings the point of me saying when you have several different devices, some may use one, some may use the other. That's exactly my point right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
Hey,
maybe some dimensions that some of the equipment doesn't work, and we're saying, turn the K2 on, turn the K2 on, flash this, flash that. Maybe in that ripple dimension, some of the energies can't, for the life of them, get them to work. Who knows?
Hmm.
You just don't
yeah,
know.
I'm actually hoping to get my hands on some new equipment this year before we start really getting into our invest. Hey, Paint Jab or
Yeah,
Paint
mine's
Cadge.
just up about
Sorry,
five
I
Hi.
just
years ago.
spotted you up there. But once again, until we get remonetized, I rely strictly on donations, through our PayPal,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, well,
that's always
just
hard because
hard.
this is America, so everybody has financial problems.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, I'm monetized just now, but I can't get ID for the life of me to get my payment. So I'm going to have to try in the next 2 weeks to definitely get an ID some kind, or I'm going to lose my monetization. And I've got about £30, I think it is, sitting there in money to lift, but I can't get it.
that's
Is it?
that's not bad.
Oh,
30 pounds is what, about 45 $45 American,
Yeah.
so
I
what's the
think.
holdup, Drew?
I need to get to the post office app to confirm who I am, and I need to get a doctor or somebody to sign the form to say that they've knew me all this time. So it's finding somebody to sign that form. So I'll get that done in the next couple of days.
You just went to the
But
dentist. They can do. He's a doctor.
I've got the dentist on Monday as well. So if I
There you
don't see
go.
my counselor tomorrow, I'll get him to do it. But it's something I need to get done to get my monetisation. I didn't realise you needed photographic ID, or I would have had it done. I do,
Yeah,
so
I had to send all that stuff in the first time.
yeah.
I already got mine sent in just in case whenever I do hit 1,000 and the 4,000,
Yeah.
I've already got it all set up, so there's no holdup.
Yeah, I would have did that as well if I'd thought about it.
But ask your
Yeah,
dentist
see,
if
that
he
was
can
the
do it.
bad.
I will
There you
Monday.
go. That's what I would do. I would ask my dentist.
Yep.
Yeah, I will.
But that was
Yep.
the bad. That was one of the bad things about losing the first channel is all the crap I went through to get monetized.
I
And then
know.
once I got monetized, the channel blew up, especially when we started doing paranormal. But
Yeah,
one thing I've noticed is the paranormal field on YouTube is so prejudiced and
yep,
so cutthroat.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
it, instead of all of us working together, like perfect example. Drew, you live 2,500 miles away from me.
mhm.
But if I went on an investigation and I found amazing evidence about something, I would message you on Messenger. I'd say, honey, you would not believe in a million years what I got last night. And the
Uh-huh.
same thing with mystical. I would
Yeah,
share that evidence out.
Hmm.
yeah,
And that's what I always believed about the paranormal field is we should work together to prove the existence of an afterlife. We
oh
Right.
shouldn't
yeah,
compete. We shouldn't worry about whose name is in lights for getting that evidence. We should
yeah,
worry about sharing the evidence out and working as a team to provide it.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many
But a lot
teams
of
of
people,
people out there that
yeah,
think that they're the next best thing. And to be realistic, all of us just have to relax, do it with love, and if you make it, well done. If you don't, you're doing something you love anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
who cares,
yep. Well,
I just
and
want to talk
see,
to
last
spirits. That's
year,
all I've ever said. I just want to talk to spirits.
yeah, last year we had, hey, Brent Stout, good to see you.
Good to
We
see you, buddy.
had an amazing little team put together of different Michigan paranormal investigators,
Right.
and we had one. I'm gonna scream his name out here because I love the little turd, even though he's a butthole sometimes. He's a fanny. Um, I'm gonna shout his name out, and that's Tommy Tombstone. Tommy amongst the
Right.
Tombstones. A lot of us that are in the paranormal field, we all know wolf haunts out of Finland. Well, she
Right.
was here for like a month last year,
Uh-huh.
and we went and done investigations together. So, we were broadening out the group, sharing that evidence we were finding, and discovering new things together.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, that's what it's all about is
Yeah.
sharing it out.
Collaboration is
And
everything. Because if you bounce off each other, because that way, if you do it like me and Chris, for example, he's Ghost Squad Scotland and I'm Drew's Paranormal Vlog, but I do a kind of mixed investigation where I'm filming and talking for Chris as well as I'm doing my own. And to me, that is everything because I'm helping Chris at the same time because he's not got the confidence as I have to call and out to the spirits. So he kind of gives me the lift to these places and I help him back by being the one that calls out to the spirits and help communicate until he gets to a point where
Mm-hmm.
he's more confident to do it and then
Hello,
we'll do it
Worldwide
together.
Hub.
hey,
Mm-hmm.
Paranormal Hub World,
We're
good to
helping
see
each
you.
other. Good to see you.
Um, yeah, I mean, and I agree, and that's exactly what we should do is help each other out, provide that information for each other. I was actually just going to address what Bryn was asking. When I
I can't
started
see
my
you.
group, I wish I had my old T-shirt around here. I don't. It's in the bedroom. I started up in MPS, um, Midwestern Parahistoric Society.
Right.
And basically, it wasn't just one group. I took my little group of two or three people, and I joined in with this paranormal investigative team and this paranormal investigative team. And a lot of times, God knows we've done some small investigations, but we would have 4 or 5 teams working those investigations. Now, when you're doing a place like um, when you're doing an investigation like the Van Buren County Poorhouse Museum here in Michigan, up in Van Buren County, that's a
Right.
5-story museum,
So
six
you need
stories if
more
you count the
people.
basement.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need more people.
yeah. I mean, so you might have one person on the 5th floor, or one team on the 5th floor, one team on the 3rd floor, one team on the 1st floor, then one team in the basement, and
Uh-huh.
we would all take turns watching the computer screen because we had static night cameras spread
Right.
throughout the entire building.
Yeah.
So
And then
you had one
flipped up.
person watching the cameras and stuff, and then you'd all switch off.
Yeah, that's it. And see what you get. Because you know that yourself. Some spirits will connect to one person and they won't connect to another, and then vice versa. So it makes sense to have 3 or 4 different people there, even if it is people for a different group,
Mm-hmm.
to test the
Yep,
spirits out and see whose personality is going to match
yep.
spirits
And see,
around.
I'm all about collaborating. I love
Right.
collaborating with other people.
You learn
Anybody
so
that lives in
much.
the mid. Anybody that lives in the Midwest, and I used to say this in my videos all the time, anyone that lives in the Midwest, by God, if you want to come and investigate with us, get a hold of us.
Mm-hmm.
If there's only one or two of you, hell, you can stay here at the house on the fold-out sofa. If there's 5 or 6 of you, we might have to find you a cheap hotel or something somewhere.
I called a tent
But,
out the back.
we'll all go out and do some investigations together.
Yeah.
I
Well,
got
Yes,
no
it's
problem.
building a community.
yeah.
People you can trust, people that you know when they go out to an investigation, their evidence is not even to be doubted. You have to support them on it, share it out, talk about it, and help grow. And then we do that for each other. We are
Yeah,
community.
Well, and
I have to give a I gotta give a shout out to Haunted Expeditions. They're here in Tennessee also. And since I'm not very familiar where all of the places are, I contacted her through Instagram. By the way, if anybody doesn't have her, sub to her. She sent me a whole list of places that she has been to, which was very kind of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, and any of the places that I go to on her list, I will make sure that when I do the investigation, that I'll give her a shout out because she's the one that told me about it. But because
Brilliant.
I said I don't even know where to go. I have all my devices. I don't know where to go. So she gave me a whole list. I was like,
Brilliant.
great, yeah. Haunted
You never know, she
Expeditions.
might join you.
Yeah, it's a pretty good drive from here to there, but she did
Yeah.
invite me to go along with her sometime, and I'll definitely, I just got to make sure that Lee's off, on those, the days, because we only do it on the weekend when we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definite.
now, without going into a lot of detail, Mystica, where in Tennessee are you?
East Tennessee. If you're familiar
Uh,
where Knoxville is, we're like a couple hours away from Knoxville.
okay. All right, because I was getting ready to ask if you drew a line from Nashville to Chattanooga, are you east or west of that line?
Okay, so
But
okay,
you just
if Kentucky, Virginia, they call it the Tri Cities, Kentucky, Virginia, and Tennessee. We're kind of like there.
yep.
Right.
Okay, so you're real close to the old Hatfield and McCoy area.
I don't know, because I don't know. No, I don't know. See, even though my dad was from here, my mom was from Texas, and so we spend more time in
Okay.
Texas than we did here. So I'm really not familiar with the places. So she not
Right.
only told me what places to go to, she gave me directions.
Good.
Oh, J-
Coordinates.
JJ, it was Paranormal Expeditions.
Yeah.
Haunted expeditions.
Haunt
If she's
Expeditions.
haunted expeditions. Yeah,
See, don't listen to me, JJ, because I'm old and I'm senile and I screw shit up all the time.
I wrote it. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
Just always double check, man.
You know, um, the another paranormal group, Ferris the Fam, they just went out a week or so ago, and they ended up or investigated a place called Anderson Cemetery.
Right.
Now, Anderson Cemetery is the site of the Morris couple who were murdered in the late 1800s. They only lived like a half a mile from Anderson Cemetery, and somebody broke in their house one night and shot them both. Well, this happened in the latter part of September, and my team went out there a couple years ago to investigate the cemetery on the anniversary of their murders.
Right.
And the sexton wouldn't let us on cemetery grounds. She had the gates locked. But Ferris the Fam went out there during daylight hours and started our investigation, and then continued it into the night. So they had full access to the cemetery as long as they wanted to stay there. And the
Right.
place is a very, very active place. So
Yeah.
when JJ and her husband come up again this coming August, I'm going to take them to Anderson Cemetery and we're going to do, once again, we'll collaborate and do an investigation. And hopefully the Morrises will come out and talk to us.
Yeah, definitely.
I was waiting for him to do that. I was waiting for him to do that.
I've got black and rose gold.
Anybody know a good manicurist? I need to get mine clipped.
Leave them there, and I'll use these and just slice them.
Yeah.
I need to find a good manicurist. I just can't afford $35 to go to the.
Mine's is all down dead low because Wally always says, scratch my back, scratch my back. So I think that's why mine's don't grow. Scratch his back that many times, they keep dump.
Lee tells me scratch his back, and he's like, harder, harder. And I'm like, I can't go any harder. I said, your back is like rubber.
That's what William's like.
Amen to that, Paranormal Hub. You do not mess with the ladies with daggers.
Welcome, Hub. Didn't see you come in, buddy. I can't see comments. I'm on my phone.
Yeah, you start messing with the ladies with daggers, it quickly goes from, oh, that feels good. Oh, to yeah. Ow, ow, ow.
You've got a jaggy back. Rocky Neil.
I think you just took up 3 moles. I'm bleeding to death. Christ, call ambulance. Hey, Jay. Good to see you, bud.
Liam likes you to wash his hair. Well, not so much now he's getting older, but when he was younger and you wanted his hair washed, he always wanted me to do that with your nails. Not so much now. He doesn't let me wash his hair now. He's too old.
Hey, I'll tell you the secret to a good back scratching. I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she does not piddle fart around in the dirt and stuff. She has got little frickin' werewolf talons. And when I want my back scratched, I let her go loose on my back.
Right.
And I swear to God, it's somewhere between a back scratch and digging for gold back there.
I don't let Lee scratch my back. He's too rough. I'm like, ow, I'm dainty.
Yeah, I started to say, Lee's a pretty big guy.
Men can't scratch as good as women. I think it's the nails. But my mum actually got William one of those things. You pull it out and it's got like a little hand on it.
Yeah, we have them there.
It's got a rugged bit on it and it scratches up the teeth.
Oh. Yeah, when I did he says, your back's bruised. I said, yeah, I had to scratch it with a back scratcher.
Well, ours just got raggy bits on it, so it's still me.
Joe, the
Paranormal Hub.
Another 10 minutes, guys. We have been on an hour and a half. If that's okay, I'm going to go off in about 10 minutes. But you're welcome to stay and chat. Of course, it's your chat. It's just that I'm getting tired.
We're going to be shutting it down too here pretty soon because Lee got back, so I'll go visit with Lee. But for the Paranormal Hub Worldwide, he said it wasn't the router after all. He ran a direct line from the box outside through the wall, and he moved the router from the other room into here, connected it to the modem, and the modem internet button, he disconnected that, so he ran it directly, so I shouldn't have to worry about that. He's hoping that'll take care of the problem. So far, it looks like it's good.
Yeah, it definitely sounds brilliant, and there's not been any flickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew looks like she's falling asleep, Paranormal Hub, but then again, she's 4 hours of us right now. So it's 20 minutes after midnight where she's at.
Yeah.
That poor little thing's probably about ready to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I was up at
So,
6 o'clock this morning for William for work. I always like to get up and make his tea and his peace and things, and I didn't go back to sleep, so I've been up here about 6.
uh, well, we'll give the
Well,
last words to Drew. One, we're going to give you the last words. Is there anything you want to add in before we go ahead and shut it down?
well, let's see here. Tomorrow night on my channel, Living History's Mysteries, we have got from Jesse's Histories and Mysteries as our guest. A lot
Okay.
of times on Friday nights, we do live stream interviews. I've had, Mystical and October and Drew all on there before. I've had Jared King TV and Queen Laura on there before. I've even had some Hollywood celebrities on there back when I had my old channel
Yeah,
off
you
the
sure
movie
did.
Tombstone. So, but we're getting them swung back in for 2023. I have got Jesse, like I said, from Jesse's Histories and Mysteries tomorrow night.
I can't
Next
wait.
week, I've got Derek from Dark Shadows Paranormal and History.
All right.
So, and we're
Drew, one,
always looking for new folks. Yes,
I think you're asking for your link. You want to put your link in?
I think I could probably do that here. Let me see what I can
Yeah.
figure out.
I would
Or
have done it, guys, if I
Let's
was
see
on, but
here.
I've not got any way of access.
Sorry, getting used to this teeny tiny laptop. My computer burned up last month.
okay, then just put a comment. Just say hi in the chat. I'll make you blue, and they can just click on your name.
I'm
Yeah,
already blue.
you just
Oh,
need
well,
to
if you're
click on my
already
name then.
okay, yeah. If you're already blue, they can just click on your name and it'll come up.
Hmm.
Kalamazoo Living History Show as well, Justin says.
Oh yeah, this weekend, Saturday, I will be at the Kalamazoo, Michigan Living History Show at the Expo Center at the Kalamazoo Fairgrounds. It is the Midwest's largest living history trade show. They cover everything from pre-colonization clear into the cowboy era, anything and everything you could possibly want, from guns to knives to clothing to tents to furniture, accoutrements, cookware, everything. And usually they're running some really good deals. So,
Mhm. Brilliant.
but I'll be doing a video there. It'll be out this next Tuesday.
Right.
So, but if you're in the area,
Alrighty.
you can always stop by.
Yeah. Do an investigation. It's not that the weather is going to change where everybody is in the next month or two. So
Hmm.
all the
Oh yeah,
paranormal is starting up again. We just need to all stick in there, keep doing these live streams, and keep pushing our names out
Hmm.
and helping each other. And then when we all do get back to getting out investigating again, we'll try and do some live together out on the field and see if we can do some experiments. Like, let's see, getting spirits
definitely,
to talk together and things. I'd love to
Alrighty.
do that type of
definitely.
thing.
And as the season opens up and it gets warmer and more teams can get out and do investigations, I will of course start bringing or trying to get those teams on my Friday night interviews on Ghost to Ghost PM and
Yeah,
let them talk about those investigations and what they experienced and things like that. So
yeah, definitely. This year, I'm definitely going to try and get more professional and start getting more inside locations and different things and doing the sweeping of the area and setting up the different cameras and things.
Thank
And
you, Brent.
that's why I want to get a couple of REM pods and things like that. So this is the year for seriousness
Yep.
and buckling down.
Okay,
thank
so
you,
we're not
Paranormal Hub.
keeping.
Thank you, Bryn.
Yep. So we're not keeping everybody up any later, which is pretty much Drew, because she was nice enough to always be my co-host. So thank you, Drew, for being my co-host again. Thank you,
No
Drew, one
problem.
for being our special guest, and thank you to all of the chat for
Anytime.
coming in and chatting with us. We'll have to do it again, everybody.
Most
Sure will.
definitely. It'll be fun.
Okay, we're going to close her
Okay.
out. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Blessings.
See y'all. Bless everybody.